Hello, everyone. It's honestly a great occasion to talk about this book. It's such an interesting and exciting book to talk about. Shunali, before we start discussing The Wrong Way Home, I really want to talk about the larger context of your writing and how this book is placed within it. Her previous novel, Love in the Time of Affluenza, which is a brilliant title, was very well reviewed by authors like Kevin Kwan, who wrote Crazy Rich Asians, and he said that this book was that Love in the Time of Affluenza was delicious, and it was something that he devoured. Similarly, Manu Joseph, another incredibly celebrated writer, said that Shunali's characters have a familiarity that is almost suspicious. And I think this is true for this book as well, where when you're reading this book, it is something that you think either you have felt it's very severely relatable, or it is recognizable. You think, oh, I almost know this person. Please talk to us about the book, what it is about, and Nayantara's character especially, who's the protagonist.
Should I just start by reading a little bit?
I think that would...
Okay, so my protagonist is 40 and recently divorced from a very successful and famous man who has married an influencer half his age. The book starts with that, and my protagonist, Nayantara, is trying to come to terms with the fact that she's still single, she's broke, and she has gone through a social exile because if you are not married or a famous last name any longer, and you have no great achievement of your own, then who are you? And the whole book is a quest about her trying to reclaim her identity. She has a PR company which she has to resurrect. She represents politicians, arms dealers, actors, and there's a lot of PR world and image making as a backdrop in this book, and that's where a lot of rich satire comes from. And the book is set between Landor and Bombay. Bombay plays a very important character in my book. So I think that is what it is in a nutshell.
It does have that exciting, enviable life. But then what I found so intriguing about it is that there is this very urgent issue that you're also exploring through this incredibly readable and enjoyable story, which is the identity of women, especially middle-aged women in India. What I loved about this book is that Nayantara's character isn't the frumpy 40-year-old woman that we have a vague notion of in India. It's a very alive, very real, very vibrant character, a deeply flawed woman, but what makes her so real and so modern is that she is aware of her flaws. She feels a little bit of satisfaction when something bad happens to somebody that she does not like, but then she is guilty about that.
She's guilty. Yeah, so she's flawed, and I think it's fun to write a flawed character because none of us here is perfect. And somehow, a lot of times, women characters end up being so perfect and being good. And anyway, there's so much burden on women to be good, to be nice. So I wanted to keep her a little gray. And I think that even though it starts with the divorce, my book is a commentary on women who have decided to be single or circumstantially they are single. Their struggle to find their identity in a society that moves around in pairs. Everything is couples, Diwali dinners, holiday packages, airline deals. This entire universe is built around pairs. And if you notice in your own circles, single women are often left out of the safety of these pairs. They have to carve a little life of their own, find other single friends like them. I remember there was a time when I was younger, if you were not married by 26, your aunts and uncles would say you're a spinster. Right? And that word itself carried such a heavy sense of being, in other words, a loser. You found nobody to marry you. But today things have changed. I think many women are choosing to be single. And when they are married, they are negotiating their marriages on their own terms. Unlike my protagonist, who had to leave her marriage because her husband pushed her out of it.
But then even with, but I just wanted to point out that even with somebody like Anjali's character, who is happily married, she does face problems. And then do you want to read a little bit about that, how it is like to be dating when you're a single woman in your middle age?
Yes, I think let's
that
do
would be
that because
fun.
that's the fun part. But let me get my granny glasses out. Okay, so I don't know, single women out here, you must be having married friends who are trying to set you up on dates. So Nayanthara is set up on a date with a man who is incredibly annoying. So it starts with her friend introducing her to this man. And this here is Shiv. She says, he's single, very eligible and very successful. She adds with a congratulatory smile as if handing over a bumper lottery prize to a destitute person. Not only is he not Bradley Cooper, as it turns out, he's barely even Paresh Rawal on a good day. Shiv is proof that the dating pool at my age has not only shrunk, it has curdled as well. The man smiles at me and extends his hand to shake mine. He's tallish with a well-defined belly that seems to have no intention of hiding itself. He's wearing Harry Potter-shaped glasses and a heavily monogrammed LV cap, perhaps to cover a receding hairline. But what truly catches my attention are his other designer accessories, the Gucci sneakers, the Hermes bracelet, and the Fendi jacket. A personification of the over-optimistic middle-aged Indian man, he has the confidence of Cristiano Ronaldo on the football field. The next hour in his company feels like the longest 60 minutes of my life. So then she goes about how boring the conversation is. I'm not going to labor over that right now. But in the end, she says, when a friend says, no, he's very nice, you should consider him, don't write him off yet. She says, what hope do I have in a world where the minute a woman hits her 40s, she's expected to grab men she wouldn't willingly buy an LIC insurance policy from? And I want to know how these men are so confident. What are their mothers telling them while raising them that they believe they can have absolutely any woman they fancy? Meanwhile, women are out there busy underestimating themselves like there is a Nobel Prize for self-doubt. But then again, maybe underestimating ourselves isn't even the issue. The real problem is a world that judges women for simply existing, exhaling and inhaling included. Case in point, my building society has just passed a resolution banning single women from renting flats.
That was such a poignant moment in this book where I read about how she was told to vacate her apartment because she was single. And it is interesting how you explored this whole thing where once a woman is single again or divorced, her friends treat her like a predator, her female friends, and her male friends might start to hit on her.
Yeah, it's the thing. Either she's too invisible because she's going to parties and now she's just a single woman in this party full of husbands and wives, and they're barely saying hello to her, waving at her and dismissing her, or she's too visible to men who look at her as, somebody they can make a move on. So, so those elements are very much a part of my book. But I've been seeing that divorces really have become common in India. And I feel that I find men complaining that I don't know what's happened to women. But the fact is that, women are now coming into their own. They're owning themselves. I think men are just not being able to catch up. I don't know where mothers are going wrong. But I think that the entitlement of men should tone down a bit. I'm married, by the way. The book is not autobiographical. But the fact is that I like men. So it's not an anti-men book. So that's that.
But it is a deeply feminist book.
It is. All my writing is deeply
yes.
feminist. My last novel was about a woman looking for her an identity within a marriage. And this is about a woman looking for an identity outside of marriage.
Because in both cases, what happens is that women tend to practice self-erasure a lot. We are supposed to reject who we are or abandon who we are in order to fit in. And in both the books, that is what is happening. It's either you're trying to fit into a marriage, so you forget who you are, or you are so subsumed by your husband's success and fame that you forget who you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Nayanthara,
I think
if there are any questions From
Take
anyone?
them, otherwise we can carry on bantering.
Yes.
Okay, it's an enlightened audience. No one has any questions to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I do want to talk about how Nayantara, she is surrounded by these people who might be judgmental. And of course, her friendship with Anjali, her best friend, is very fraught with toxicity. But her positive relationships with her mother, who lives in Landor, is very important.
See, in the time that we live in today, everyone is living for appearances. And Nayantara herself runs a PR company where she's trying to polish other people's lives and manufacture their image. In the process, she doesn't realize it, but she's manufacturing her own image because she so badly wants her husband to know that she has moved on well without him. She so badly wants society to know that she's successful, she's making money, that she is compromising on her principles for that. And her mother is an environmentalist who lives in a mountain trying to make a difference to the communities who live there. So initially, there is an undercurrent of dissonance between mother and daughter, even though they are close. But I think eventually she does have to ask herself these hard questions, especially after she falls for the wrong kind of a man, who she really is and what is she really seeking from life. And in that sense, I place the mother in Landor as a metaphor for, both cities play the metaphor for her inner life and who is her authentic self and who is her false self. Because we are also busy curating our lives online, so busy trying to showcase who we are not on social media to our friends. We are just pretending so much that a stage comes where you become exhausted from all the pretense. And the sooner you do that, the happier you will be.
There is a brutal awareness about optics. Nayantara wants to live a successful life so that she can post about it on social media, but her mother, being an activist, living in the mountains, helping farmers, I found it a very interesting contrast between what Nayantara thinks of as a successful life and what her mother thinks of as success through living an ethical life.
So I think today we do go through that a lot, by the way.
Yes.
All young people think fame is the only goal of life. Whether it's Instagram fame or real life fame, I hear from small children, what do you want to do? I want to be famous. And I think even as a much grown adult, Nayantara is looking at that. Wealth or power or fame. Because I think for a woman to count in this world, she needs one of the two. Either a good marriage and a famous last name, or fame and success or power herself. And I think she's pursuing that. And the mother is obviously older, wiser. Let's see whether she returns to wisdom or she continues to live her life on her own terms.
But I think that is what makes this novel so contemporary. That she is not, she is chronically online. She knows what's going on. She's very cultured, successful at her work, really good at her work, actually. She takes care of a lot of things that go disastrously wrong at the last minute. So this book has that surface appearance of a really fun Nora Ephron or Sophie Kinsella novel.
Not Sophie Kinsella,
okay.
Please don't say that. Nobody called it Sophie Kinsella, so don't say that. It's not.
It was in a review that I read that they
really
yeah.
That was my last book.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was it has that exterior which is very glittering, very readable, very fun. But then it does have that underbelly of asking very serious questions in a very smooth way. It's a subtle way. It isn't in your face.
I think it's time.
So, yes, I think it's a
Tanuf,
really good
thank
book.
you so much for taking the time to read this so thoroughly and engage with it. I think at this stage, you know this better than I do know this book. In fact, I had to ask Tanuf, what should I be reading from here? Because she had marked everything. I truly appreciate. I'm grateful for this. Thank you so much.
Me too. I had fun reading the book.